All right, guys, so in this video right here, I'm going to share with you the differences between working state funds and tax surplus. I'm going to talk about the commonalities, and I'm going to talk about the ones that actually will probably bring you the best bang for your buck when you're doing a business like this. So let's go ahead, let's get it started. Okay, so check this out. I get this asked all the time from the clients who I coach in my Dream Builders Academy. Coach, what's the best one to start with? Which one should I do? And I'll be honest with you guys, both niches, state funds and tax surplus, can be very profitable. I do have my favorite, but I want to share you guys some of the benefits of both so you guys can determine yourself which one makes the most sense. So let's go ahead and talk about state funds. So how do we do state funds? And probably a more important question to ask is, what is state funds? Well, state funds is unclaimed money with the state. And it's not just the state specifically. These are people who they have money out there that may be owed to them from old jobs that they had. Maybe it's from insurance companies. Maybe they made an overpayment somewhere. And there's just money that's due back to them. And the state treasurer oversees this money. And when you submit documentation to the state on behalf of your clients, then they can actually claim those funds. Now, more times than not, the money that you can get for state funds is less, all right, than tax surplus. So it's normally less than tax surplus. And I'll explain to you guys why in just a moment. But just understand that it's less than tax surplus. But let me talk about some of the benefits from doing state funds. State funds will get you the quickest wins. All right, so I'm gonna put the word quick here. Now, please don't get me wrong when I say that it's going to be a quick win, because this entire process in this business here, it takes time to develop and unfold and for deals to be made. I tell people all the time, if your next month's mortgage depends on you being extremely profitable with this business, this is not the right business for you. Now, a caveat to that. When people come into my academy, I show them how to create a business entity, and I also show them how to get business funding before they work state funds or before they work tax surplus, so they have that financial cushion to where they're not stressed out on to how do I pay my bills next month. That's where most businesses go wrong. Most businesses don't have the capital or the funding to even operate. So you're out of business before you even start really seeing the benefits of the business you created. So it's really important for those of you all who are watching this video, you must get capital for your business. And if you don't know how, in the description below, I'll put a link to where you guys can watch a free masterclass on where I talk about all the exact steps you need to take as a brand new business on getting funding before you even start closing deals. All right, so let's get back to it. So this is a quick way to get funds right here. And I would say there is less resistance. At the end of the day, there's just not a lot of pushback, because when you work tax surplus, you're working with people who lost their home. They're going through hard times. The last thing they want is someone to call them and then tell them something that just sounds unbelievable. Most people are unaware of tax surplus. This is not something that's widely broadcasted. And really, until I accidentally came across this type of business industry, I had no clue what it was either. Now let's talk about tax surplus. It's the same thing as state funds. You know, it's unclaimed funds. Now you're going to make more money per deal. On average, you can make more money with tax surplus, because what happens is with tax surplus, there's an auction when a home is being foreclosed by the county. And now when it goes to auction, you got these bidders and they start to outbid each other. And these are people with money. These are cash buyer investors, and they're going to outbid each other because they're bidding on homes, and they're going to make more money down the line. So it's worth it to them to put all this money on top of these homes. Well, that surplus of that money belongs to the previous homeowner. Sometimes you're closing deals and you're going to get your client paid 50 grand, 100 grand, 200 grand. I've seen deals where it's up to $800,000. Okay, so there's a lot of money out there and you get a percentage of that. So you're definitely going to make more money per deal. Now, the problem with it is this one might be a little slower. It's not as fast as far as closing these deals with people, because again, we're talking a lot of money, and we're talking people who might be more skeptical because they just lost a home. Then they get a random person who's calling them, telling them, hey, there's a lot of money in that home you just lost. And if your script is not tight and your script is not aligned to where someone can actually believe that you're an actual business and not a scammer, then you're gonna have a very hard time. And that's one thing, again, I teach in my academy, like we have a script, but I also show people how to break it down block by block. And For those of you all who are interested in learning how to piece together your script, let me know in the comments and I'll make sure that I make a video addressing step by step how you can develop your own script so you can start closing more deals versus getting hung up on. So we know that it's a slower pace right there, and you're going to have more resistance, right? Why is that? Well, I just mentioned to you guys before, you just lost a home and now you're calling me a stranger saying that there's money out there that the county owes me. So you have to have a tight script for that right there. But ultimately, you can make more money per deal with tax surplus. This one right here, you might make less money than tax surplus, but you're going to find yourself getting more wins. And the reason why I favor state funds over tax surplus, especially for my students, is because they're coming in, creating a new business, and they need that instant gratification. They need that win. They need to feel like, okay, I've invested into a new business. I just hired a brand new business coach. Everything is scary. I don't want people to tell me that I did the wrong choice and I failed. I need a win. Well, state funds will give you that quick win, and it's not as hard to accomplish. But one obstacle that I failed to mention that I want to bring up to your attention is you have to be a registered investigator. Okay? So just about every state requires this. Well, every state that I've encountered requires you to be a registered investigator. And some states are easier to work than others. One state that I favor is the state of California. So when you're working state funds with the state of California, it's a simple form that you fill out, you mail it to the state, and then they send you an email approving you. Other states, like the state of Texas, it's not as hard, but the process is a little more extensive. Like you have to go get some fingerprints done. You may have to pay a small fee to get all that stuff and that process going. So there's added steps to it. When you're working tax surplus, you pretty much can start working. You just got to have your legal documents, like your limited power of attorney. You got to have your agreement forms. And if there's any other extra things, depending on the type of case that you're working, it might require some documents, but you don't have to go through the extra steps to do state funds. So you have to weigh on which one works best for you. Some of you all have the confidence and the experience to go ahead and jump into tax surplus and start closing those bigger deals and getting those bigger paydays. One deal can be your entire month's salary. State funds, I'm not saying you can't make as much in some scenarios, but in most scenarios, you might be closing like 2 or 3 deals to equal the power of one deal for tax surplus. But the thing is, you get quicker wins, you feel better, you feel accomplished, and you're going to get those checks, and that's going to feel awesome. So anyways, guys, I hope that brings some clarity, the difference between state funds and tax surplus. I hope that you make the right decision. And for those of you all who are just lost and you don't know where to start when you're structuring your day to work your deals, what I did was I put a link below in the description, and I created a free checklist for you so when you're working your deals, you have something to follow so you're not all over the place. I hope you guys enjoy it. Again, my goal here is to help you launch your businesses and be profitable for free, because I think we all deserve to sit at the same table and become profitable as small business owners. I'll see you in the next video.